Hello everyone and welcome to some MiSTer FPGA news. In this episode, we will be talking about a more accurate Game Boy Advance core, the MiSTer MultiSystem 2, two new arcade games released by Jotego's team, arcade cheats, and more. Also, check out my channel sponsor MiSTer Add-ons, a place where you can get all your MiSTer needs, things like full MiSTer setups, accessories, I/O boards, and more. Now let's get to the news. If you are planning on buying a MiSTer MultiSystem or have an interest in changing your current MiSTer FPGA setup, the MultiSystem team posted a setup guide and video showing how to assemble the MultiSystem bundle available in their shop, 150 euros. They have several expansion cards for the MultiSystem and the video covers all the ones they have available. These cards provide extra functionality like giving you real original controller ports, more analog video output options, and MT32Pi support. The MultiSystem is a great setup and I have one developed by Koala Koa, so I can attest to its quality and ease of use. Remember, unlike the MiSTer MultiSystem 2, this one does require a DE10 Nano FPGA board. We have been shown a prototype of the MiSTer MultiSystem 2 inside the 3D printed case they've designed. For video connection, the PCB has a Mega Drive 2 style video/audio connector. The case also shows a slot for inserting Zaploader NFC cards. A video was also posted going everything like the MultiSystem 2's hardware development, the enclosure, expansion options, and a lot more. It's a great video to get us up to speed on what we can expect. Here's a reminder of what the MiSTer MultiSystem 2 is. Compared to the first one, this one has the FPGA and ARM CPU built in. So it's an all-in-one MiSTer FPGA setup that you can start using right away. So there is no need to purchase an extra DE10 Nano or one of its clones to get up and running. Anton Gale has started work on an Exidy 440 FPGA core for the MiSTer FPGA. While there is already an FPGA core out for the platform, it is believed to be closed source. Anton's core will be open source, and I assume, like Anton's previous cores, the schematics for the hardware will also be released. Featured in the post is an operators and service manual for the Exidy arcade game Crossbow. Crossbow is a light gun shooter released in 1983 where you shoot objects threatening a band of adventurers. Jotego added a new game to the JTFL Story core, which is based on games running on the Fairyland Story hardware. The new game is a Japanese arcade baseball game, Victorious 9. The game displays the entire baseball diamond, but when pitching starts, the middle of the screen shows a new window with a zoomed view of the pitcher and batter. This core is currently in beta, so you will have to be a Patreon subscriber to obtain it. However, once the core is stable enough, it will be released to the public for free. In addition to releasing a new playable arcade game, Jotego also pushed some maintenance releases for older cores. Here are some of the updates. Game volume is now controllable via keyboard on all FPGA platforms. Corrupted graphics in Midnight Resistance were fixed. Missing sounds of Super Hang-On was fixed. Objects missing parts in The Simpsons was fixed. And there were also other fixes for Street Fighter, Vigilante, Rumba Lumber, games in the Splatterhouse core, and games in the Konami Twin 16 core. Robert Pipe is back, and he is working on rebuilding the Game Boy Advance core to be cycle accurate. On Discord, he posted images of his test core passing all tests in the Game Boy Advance test suite. Compared to the older MiSTer Game Boy Advance core, that one only passes 442 out of 936 tests. Robert believes that this new core will require a lot of testing to make it stable due to the significant amount of changes being made. Robert also said that the current core will still be useful because there will be things that the new core cannot do due to the resources required to keep it accurate. These things include being able to run the core with only DDR3 memory, the two-player core will probably not be possible, and there's the possibility of other extra features not making it to the new cycle-accurate core. Having a more accurate Game Boy Advance FPGA core really helps for preservation, and it is also important for homebrew developers who want to use a MiSTer FPGA as a test system. cheating on the M92 core and other arcade cores is coming to MiSTer. Martin Donlin added cheat support to MiSTer Main. You can try out cheat support now with the IREM M92 core. However, you will need an unstable build of MiSTer Main as the arcade cheat update has not been officially released. You will also need new MRA files because they contain the cheats themselves. The M92 core runs games like R-Type Leo, Gun Force, Ninja Baseball Batman, and more. Some interesting information that Martin reminded us on Twitter is that Jotego's framework also supports cheats. Jotego mentioned this back in 2021, but the cheats need to be translated from the MAME format to Jotego's system. While we could have always cheated in arcade games by just inserting as many virtual coins as we wanted, a useful cheat I see for shoot 'em ups is not losing all your powers after you die. If you want to see a tutorial on how to get cheats up and running, check out Pixel Cherry Ninja's video on the subject. Just remember that when cheats are officially released, you will not have to do anything as Update All will take care of everything, just as long as cheats were added to the MRAs. If not, then you would have to add the cheats yourselves to the MRA files. Core developer Macro updated the arcade game Cosmo and added the Starfield. This game runs on Space Invaders hardware. Here's the game before the update. And here's the game after the added Starfield update. Starfield is optional, but you can enable it using the background graphic toggle on the core's MiSTer menu. Zaploader by Bedroom Ninja is now available for purchase. This is an NFC reader that allows you to use physical cartridges to launch games on your MiSTer FPGA. The cartridges must have NFC tags attached in order for this to work. A standard Zaploader purchase gives you a slot for fitting PAL and Japanese Super NES cards, and a slot for inserting NFC cards. If you want support for other cartridges, you can purchase an optional adapter pack that supports NES, Famicom, Game Boy, N64, Master System, Mega Drive, and Game Gear cards. Remember, the cartridges must have NFC tags attached to them in order to launch games. This is possible thanks to the Zapperoo project that allows you to use NFC cards and tags to launch games on the MiSTer FPGA. Jotego released a new arcade core. It's the light gun arcade game New York Captor. In this game, you are a marksman who has to rescue hostages from terrorists. MiSTerOrganize is bringing another big update on March 7th. MiSTerOrganize is a project that will help you keep your games organized for browsing games on your MiSTer. It contains custom DAT files that will instruct it on how to organize games. This new update brings the first console CD games to the console database, starting with the Sega CD. Also, no intro games were updated to current. No intro private aftermarket games were also updated to current. Super Mario Bros. Arena hacks now total 150. Golden Axe Neo Geo was added. There's also some exclusive content that includes no intro private aftermarket games. It supports a complete set of MSU1 Super NES games, which includes the latest revisions from Infidelity, Project Nested, and Rumblemans, and also has support for Game Boy and Game Boy Color MSU1 for the Super Game Boy Core, and their support for the complete set of Mega Drive MSU MD games. These are just some of the updates, and if you want to integrate MiSTerOrganize onto your setup, all you have to do is add these two lines you see on screen to the downloader.ini file. After that, just run downloader or update all as usual. The arcade STV portions of the Saturn core are being moved to a standalone STV core. The reason being is that each system has resources that are exclusive to them, and since the Saturn core already uses a lot of FPGA resources, it makes sense to have separate cores for these two systems. So Saturn specific resources won't be implemented on the STV core and vice versa. The STV portion of the Saturn core has not been officially released yet, so there is some manual setup to be done if you want to get it running. But if you want to keep the current STV core up to date along with its MRAs, then you can use Dave One Gilly's update script on GitHub. User Woj on the MiSTer FPGA forum has added a lot of improvements to the Atari 800 core. Here are just a few. Reloading of a new cart image no longer requires a complete core restart. Improved compatibility with the original hardware as there are more acid tests passing. Proper Atari 800 mode with its memory configurations up to 52K of RAM. Joystick now supports when port A is on the out mode. Some games and game loaders do this, and without this, the joystick was not working for them. A dedicated XEX loader that uses DMA style, very small memory footprint loader to load XEX files directly, skipping drive mounting. The 700K plus modern demos load in under 10 seconds or faster, depending on the title. ATX disk timing is now fixed as a whole and now passing all the ATX tests. There are many more updates, and you can get a list of all of them and follow more information about the core in the forum post. These updates have not been officially released, so you will have to download the unofficial builds manually. The downloads are also available on the forum thread. Core developer Jason A released an early version of a core for the Exidy Sorcerer computer. The Sorcerer is a home computer released in 1978. If you use the unstable DB download script from Downloader, it will install the required files, and you will also find the core in your unstable folder. Jason A also released another core for the RCA Studio II console. This is a very basic console system released in 1977. Here's how it's described on Wikipedia. The graphics of the Studio II games were black and white and resembled those of earlier Pong consoles and their clones. The Studio II also did not have joysticks or similar game controllers, but instead used two 10-button keypads that were built into the console itself. The console was capable of making simple beep sounds with slight variations in tone and length. The Studio II also included 5 built-in games. This core is still in testing, but you can download it manually from Jason A's GitHub. And we have another new computer core by Jason A. This one's for the Laser 350/500/700 line of computers. These computers use a Z80A compatible CPU. Like the other cores Jason A just released, it is currently in testing, but you can download its unstable build. Looks like Jason A has been super busy because we have another test core. This one's for the LM80C computer. This is a modern homebrew computer by Leonardo Miliani that runs on a Z80 processor. Leonardo posted the schematics and code for the computer publicly so you can build your own. This core by Jason A can also serve to test developing software on this homebrew computer. So that's it for this episode. Please also try to support Sorge, the maintainer of the MiSTer project, and other MiSTer developers and contributors on support platforms such as Patreon and Ko-fi. Their hard work allows us to enjoy this amazing project. I also provided links to all my sources in the description. Make sure to also check out RetroRGB.com to see my MiSTer news videos in blog form and to get more retro-related content. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button and this bell icon so you can get notified of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.